where do you see the shame, and where do you see this self-awareness conflict that happens around this? Yeah. And Piyush, to your point now, this has nothing to do with a bully. Yeah, it's not about bully and being bullied. Now, the shame is something which is common to even the person who bullies. Why does he bully, for example? Yeah. But I mean, thinking from that perspective, do you have a newfound definition for shame? And do you want to share an experience which you can still relate to?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whatever we discussed, that this broadens my perspective of shame now.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, this is more from the self-awareness side of
Yeah.
it. I am there is one example. I'm not sure if it will fall into the
Sure.
category, but let's say I have a hairstyle and I don't care about it. I mean, I think
Sure.
it's okay, it's normal. But then people start pointing it out. Okay, you have got something weird up there,
Yes.
and then I tend to ignore that person also. But then it becomes a normal thing, and every other person is actually pointing it out. And
Sure.
then there's certain, I mean, there is this external awareness that came into me. But now, even if there are people around me and they're laughing, I think that they are laughing at me because of my hairstyle.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing, I never assumed. Like when I first got the hairstyle, I was like, okay, it's perfectly normal. But because people started pointing it out, now I feel that maybe it's something wrong with
Yes.
me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Something as small as that, right? And it starts as a seed into the feeling of shame, and then maybe it increases a bit. Yeah. But yeah, something as small as that can set up roots for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So anybody else? Arpana, do you want to share anything from what you have studied?
If I start talking, I'll tell you what it is exactly. So I just share my experience only. Basically, like I can give you a clear picture of my life, and I'm not ashamed of sharing what I have been through. So to start with, whatever you have explained, it has given me a glimpse of my life itself. So where I was a kid, recently I was talking about an experience I had where I was unable to see anything properly. Okay, I used to tell my parents that I can't see anything, and where we used to have like teaching like this, where even during the test they used to write the questions on the board. Where it used to be very far from the place I'm sitting, I have to ask someone next to me, can you explain like what is that question? First question I used to write down. Sometimes by the time they used to write, I used to ask next person. Those are the things. Like I used to have certain things where I have to copy the question first by taking help of someone. It happened till my 9th standard. You can imagine what I went through.
Yeah.
During my exam, I used to get like, I used to be a person who used to be first class to first rank holder in the whole class. But during test, because they used to write it on the board, I can't see. And I used to explain it to my parents every time. Maybe the generation was totally different. They were unable to understand. And there are situations like this where they tore my paper, they sent me out of the class because they thought I was copying. I was literally asking because I had that much knowledge. The person who got master's gold medal, definitely I was not a person who was ready to copy. I had my own ethics. The problem was I was supposed to copy the questions first to answer. So that used to take some time. But the psychology of the person, obviously teacher, they will think in a different angle, and they used to take out the pages from my hand, and sometimes they used to send me, and girl, okay, girl, if she is doing, the type of word they use, it was literally a different kind of environment.
Yeah.
So I used to come home, I cannot explain it to my parents, what's happening with me on regular basis. The test, at least it is monthly test. Every month I used to go with these cycles. So when that thing happened with me, so one day literally my brother got headache, and my parents, they told, I was the I would say protector for him for everything. So he is going to hospital, you go along with him, and you also keep on telling them you can't see, go and check it out. They just gave drops to him, eye drops, and they told me go and get your parents. So I came home and I was afraid of everything. I was not this person those days. I just told them that they are calling, like, you guys, you are supposed to come. So they came, my mother came along with me, and the doctor asked, like, do you know what she is going through? She has got power of -6, -8 in her 9th standard. Today I wear lens. You can imagine the critical stage I have gone through.
Yeah.
So it would have not gone to this stage because she has inborn problem. You would have asked, I have told my parents, so they told me to come here. So when I explained it to my parents again and again, just because they were ashamed of certain things. Now later stage the things changed because I used to wear a spectacle which used to be a huge. bulky glasses and all.
Yeah.
So yes, a girl is wearing such kind of thing. One kind of shame came into picture, where I was also started feeling, okay, I think I should take it away only while during test or when I am going through certain classes, whether I should wear it or not. But doctor has critically told that you are not supposed to drop it because the power might go beyond this level. So this happened. I was wearing those glasses till my graduation, and you can understand the college life is a dream life for everyone. All of us we have thought of.
Yes.
So I used to wear during my first year degree. I was I'm a professional dancer too. During that time, I was supposed to give my exam. My teacher told, if you go with this glass, definitely you won't get marks. We have exams for that. So she said, no, you won't get proper marks for it, and you have to take it out. You know what happens? There also we have theory. So I have to look at what hastas we say. So they will show it to us, and I should write it in my paper. So imagine the situation, I can't even see. I'm not supposed to wear spectacle during that time. Then I told, like, I'll convince them. So I was wearing my spectacle for theory. Practical, I dance. I don't even care who was there and what they are looking at me and how they were. So that's it. I came out of that thing, and my sister suggested, okay, there is a shame situation all over. So you are wearing this type of thing. Her friend told there is something called as lens, so she can wear it. So that is the life changing situation where I started wearing lens. Till now I wear contact lens. So that is one part of the life which I have gone through as a kid. So right now, if any kid walks to me and if they have any kind of situation, it is not only studies, I'll ask them whether they have any physical problems which is making them think, or it is affecting them studies or something. That is the life lesson which I have learned because of my ashamed situation, you would say. That I was sent out of the class, it could be, or the glasses which I used to wear. That is one part of it. If I can take few more minutes, I'll tell another part of my life.
Sure.
Is it okay with you guys?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So basically, another stage of my life is where I got my gold medal in masters, and I was a professor in college. And 2006, I had a bus accident. It was huge accident, but I continued with my work because I was supposed to work for my family. That was my aim. So I was pursuing PhD. Just before submitting my thesis, I was supposed to travel during 2010 to around 400 kilometers or 300 kilometers distant place in a bus. While coming back, luckily my brother was there. I started feeling huge pain in my spinal cord and neck to the lower back. So I was telling him, and somehow we traveled back and I fainted. So the episode started from there, and I was diagnosed with spinal cord protrusion in many places, and doctor asked me to be in bedridden situation. It could be forever, it could be like 6 months, let's try with different medication. You can understand the medications what we take. It will be like literally, I used to hallucinate and all. So I just thought, okay, those 6 months, it was again, I was supposed to leave my teaching job, that it was like my dream job. I was supposed to quit my PhD. So it is like end of the stage where I have worked for more than 4 years. I'm supposed to quit that because if they asked me to do coursework in the university where I was begging them that it is not the situation I can come. But there is no proof that I can tell them. I told I'll send you the scan report and all. So there was a situation where they were unable to accept it. I dropped everything by literally telling I might not be able to continue because I can't do any coursework further over there. So coming back to the stage where 6 months bedridden, I used to sleep whatever time I want, whatever time I used to get up, there is no life. And hallucination is like that tomorrow I have this class, I have to prepare notes. This kind of hallucinations I used to get into. So those things I crossed. Then because of my dance, the 6th month I decided that let me go and teach dance to a particular group of kids. So that took me out of the situation. Till now, I sit for long period. I'm not on any medication. I do yoga and dance on regular basis. And I just inspired myself. And that was the situation. Why I took this situation is, those 6 months I was ashamed of my life. Where I was not ready to tell anyone that I went through this particular issue. And people are looking at me, okay. After she completed her master's, immediately she got into PhD. And she is growing in her life, and she is a lecturer. She is becoming a senior lecturer soon. That is like most of the people they were dreaming of. When I was achieving that, suddenly you have to drop everything, you have to come sit. So when I saw that, the next stage now, I tell people irrespective of any situation you go through, you come to me. I'll either help you with further education or I'll help you with employment. So that's what, depending on the situation or what health issues or what I went through, I took it as a challenge. I won't allow anyone. Recently, I have posted, which you were saying. So now English is one tough language for everyone. And this is the time we are coming out of our job. And one of the reasons most of the non-IT people are getting that you are not good at your English. You cannot communicate. So we are facing that difficulty with clients. So your targeted area is this. So I started helping those people that let me teach you at least communication part of it. So you come out of it. So this is what I have gone through. It is shame. It is self-awareness, whatever the life cycle I have gone. Today I'm this, where I'm running institution as well as employment center, where I'm trying to help people with either least cost or without cost most of the time. That's my life.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for sharing that, Arpana, and it's really inspiring. But if in the context of shame, Arpana, if you have to give somebody two approaches, right? Two golden keys from your experiences of how to work around shame. Yeah, how to not get stuck with it, how to not ruminate with it. What are the two key approaches or practice or whatever you want to call it? Yeah, what are the two key directions that you would give somebody to think and go towards to come out of this shame?
I would give from the superior aspect, like a parent. I would say that observe your kid every moment. Don't think that adolescents, they are behaving like this and they are not listening to us or certain things. So there are certain situations, they will behave, their behavior pattern changes. So till 5th year, you just leave them free. Nowadays, I'll just take another example where online classes are going on.
Yeah, right.
Where, 3.5 years, 4 years kids, they are supposed to sit in front of the laptop. Few of them, they are enjoying because they can see their friends. And they can see their teacher and they're happy with it. But few of the kids, literally parents, I observe, sit, you listen to it, I have paid fees, you just go through that. That is the thing. Till 5th year, give them freedom. So let them explore what they are. You understand them. That is the parental level at the elderly level, what we say. You give them freedom, observe, walk in their path and get them to your path. That is one thing. So when you observe, you will understand what they are ashamed of, what you feel that you are ashamed of. Like a kid, they are exposed to kind of drugs. I have seen that. Okay, a kid used to walk into my institution. I know that kid is getting affected. Instead of blaming kid, you can find out the root, who is supplying it. You can observe that instead of getting ashamed that if I take it to further step, if I go to police that my kid is getting affected with this reason, you can take support and you can help others also. Instead of sitting at home, I'm ashamed that my kid is doing this. I'll lock him inside a room and I'll take him for therapy. Therapy, you are helping only one kid. But if you take certain action, definitely you can come out of it. You don't have to be ashamed of that situation and people will take you as an example and they'll tell you or they'll come to you. That is parental level. Kids, I would say that don't be ashamed of anything. No one is going to remember forever what we did. So I told you today that I was ashamed of a situation. They tore my paper. I don't remember that. My teacher will remember that or something else. So there are situations no one is going to, our memory is very short term. Only unless you have achieved something, people will remember. These nonsense things, I would say, no one is going to remember. Okay. So definitely, kids, one thing, do whatever you want, but don't hurt yourself or don't hurt others. Balance that. Rest everything is fine. Kids, you are supposed to enjoy and it is balanceable thing and parents will take care of it. And don't hide anything from parents. Make them as your friends. Once you cross, at least nowadays they are matured enough after 7 or 8 years only. So those are the two messages I would say to different age stages of life. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Arpana. Thank you. Yes, doctor.
Listening to Arpana speak, and of course with my sort of experiences and what I've read and everything, I just want to put forward the discussion as to, with respect to shame in an individual, we as adults, or I as a parent, as an adult role model for my younger son, for my son, I think I play a major role. Because now that I think back, when the things that I was ashamed of, like even if it was body image, or let's say not excelling at school, or let's say not sitting in a certain way in a social environment, and not not wearing the proper kind of dress or whatever it is when I'm sitting with my elderly aunts or whatever. Where did this come from? The sense of shame in me.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't like
Yeah, you didn't have it from birth in you.
give birth to it myself, inside me. Somebody put that in my head, saying that what you're doing is not right and you should be ashamed of yourself for doing this. And I think that came from my parents, that came from my aunts, my uncles, the adults who were around in that environment, and also my teachers.
Yes.
Because what are you dressing as? Go stand outside, or is this the kind of handwriting you should have? You're a girl, so go stand outside, whatever,
Yes.
So I think I, as an adult now that I'm self-aware and I have this thing, I think I should be very much aware of the words that come out of my mouth and what my younger son or my child and anybody of that age group to whom I can possibly be a adult role model, I should be very careful with respect to that, because I'm the one who's going to probably put the idea of shame in their heads, is what I feel.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't know if it is about men handling it differently or what, right? So, for example, for me, I remember. So I have a sister who is 7 years elder to me. Yeah, and she is this perfect good girl, good handwriting, always favorite of teachers everywhere. So from my nursery, from my very early schooling days until I cleared 10th, yeah, every year, every teacher that I meet, right, almost every week, if not every day, there is this reinforcement. Your sister was such a good girl. Why are you like this? Yeah. Oh my God. Pilar, I see this and I'll come back to you on that. I was bombarded with this always. Yeah. But looking at it from a very early childhood time, there were few things which used to trouble me. So I was this. So my hometown was on a beach side, right? And she was this fair girl, and I was like complete black guy. Yeah, I was burned, if you can say. I was always very, very black, burned kind of guy. And around that comment, sometime I used to feel it in my heart. Yeah, because that is this part of this entire shame thing. And I was reading the personality things today, where the good looking, or perceived good looking, definitely has an advantage. Yeah. So much so that in your life cycle circles and in your corporate circles, it is proven by research that if you are in group of good looking people, you have better chances to grow. It's surprising how it goes. But okay, coming to that. But apart from that look point of view, right? I never, or I don't know if my mental mechanism maybe I was feeling ashamed as a child. I'm not too aware now to remember what I used to feel very deeply then. But I was always, then it turned me into a rebel, right? Yes, this is my USP. I am something completely different to my sister. And with that, when I get appreciations, and if I do something great on stage performance, or whatever it be, right? In whichever field, if I can do something good and I get a appreciation for it, it reinforces in me, yes, I am different. I will stay different from her. I will never try to improve my handwriting to a point that it's not even good today. Yeah. and I will stay different from her. What's the point? And that's the discrepancy point theory that we just spoke about a few minutes back, right? For me to see the gap of the discrepancy was so huge, because maybe she was very good in almost all the aspects when it comes to people recognizing things in her. But maybe she's also very 7 years elder to me. So I'm trying to compare myself with somebody whom I just can't, right? It's apples to oranges. But for me, it was just a sibling. And I quickly figured out that discrepancy, that gap, I will never be able to meet. So very early in my childhood, I gave it up. I said, no, this is not the fight I'm going to fight for, right? And then there were a lot of other aspects of psychology, the behavioral aspects, that everything came, where I and her started going in a very different tangent, very different paths. Yeah. But today, when I see, to that matter, how much ever different our personality, even today, we are very different people, the way we approach life. But there is a common thread of us as siblings, right? When there is this true inner self that comes out, we are very similar in certain aspects. Yeah. But maybe that's just DNA of mom and dad. But otherwise, we are very different person. But that is the time when maybe as a kid, I was very quickly put into a position where I maybe have already addressed shame, but I can't pinpoint it now because I was very young then, and I had my diversions of the path, saying no, I can never meet this discrepancy. I'm going to go on a separate way. I'm going to be a different person than her. And maybe there were things which we were doing similar, which I also changed, saying no, we are different person. If she likes that, I'm not going to like it anymore from today. Yeah, and I deviated from there. So maybe that was my early childhood shame thing. When you spoke about it, it just struck me. I just thought of sharing. But Pilar, yes, you were doing this. Your points.
This is going to be hard to be short.
Go for it.
But I'll do my best. I always take notes on the ideas that come to continue going there. And the thoughts that came were, on one hand, that how shame has to do with feeling inadequate, inappropriate,
Yes.
that you don't fit.
Yes.
And here the interesting thing is that you have to fit. You have to enter the convention. I
Yes.
guess convention is a very good word to say this. And the thing with being inappropriate, and Alessandra and also I try to be as inappropriate as I possibly can because I am too a rebel. The problem here has also to
Yes.
do with pain. Because if shame, oh, I feel inappropriate, okay, well, whatever, and just go on. But the pain of rejection, the pain of other things, something very strange happened this week. As you can see, my hair is quite white. By now it turned white with my mom's cancer, whole head. And I was thinking, well, since it's growing white, by the time this is over, I don't know, maybe October, December, because we really don't know how long the COVID confinement is going to be. I'm going to cut out the black hair and I'm just going to leave the white. And I'm going to buy color mousses and put it pink and red and yellow and green and blue and whatever. And I was telling my child, that was like, with her, no, Mom, no, don't. Why not? I mean, we watch Naruto. He has some
Yes.
spray with color that he plays the mohawk and they color his hair and he plays with it. I said, why can't I? No. I was like, what is the problem? Until finally yesterday he told me why. And the reasons that he gave was, what if the other kids laugh at you and I cannot defend you from them all? And I was like,
Mi vida.
what the hell? It was a blow.
Yes.
Because I never thought about the kids at his school. He's in preschool, for God's sake. I mean, I can smack them all with one blow. But the idea
Yes.
of him trying that he's just turned 6 last week,
Yes.
and the idea that he has to defend me
Yes.
from other people
Yes.
is like, oh my God, because we got him in karate so he would learn to defend himself, because in this country, my country, in Mexico, all boys must fight. Since they are like 10, 12 years old, there is fighting in school. It's a cultural thing. And I don't want his ass kicked, really. I want him to be able to at least
Absolutely.
Why? Absolutely. Yeah, sure.
keep the blows. No,
Absolutely.
and if he needs to make a stand and hit somebody, that he does it without damaging his hand. But the idea of the shaming with the inadequacy,
Yeah.
what happens to freedom?
Yeah.
And at the same time, the idea of shaming with pain, because I don't fit in the convenience of a landscape or a society or whatever group it is I have to go across. I mean, because of my job when I was younger, I could never do crazy things. I worked for the nuns.
Yeah.
I couldn't wear nail polish. That's how extreme the thing. And I was a teacher, and I couldn't do. If I wore pink, it was okay, but red, oh my God.
Yeah.
No, don't get creative with the colors. Pink, but a very shade pale, and the earrings. I have three holes, but I could only wear one pair. And the dressing had to be under the knee and up to here, and all these things of the convenience. And right now I am like, but I want that blue hair. I don't want a wig. I want my hair and I want it blue. And I never had it because I don't assume my age. I'm 47 years old and almost 47 years old, but I don't assume that age. In my mind, I'm 27 at the most.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't fit.
Yeah.
I've never been able to fit anywhere.
Yeah.
And should I be proud or should I be shamed?
Do you want to fit?
I decided I want to be proud.
Yeah,
But
I
I'm not
decided.
doing
Yeah, so
this.
that
I'm
was
not getting blue hair because of this guy
sure.
sitting here with my cell phone watching videos. But it's really hard to make your decision and stick to it, to get yourself out of the shame zone
Yes.
and have a positive discourse on your own that has to do more with health and self-respect. And it is hard when you sometimes say, how did I get to this weight? How did I get to this age? How come I never finished the whatever thing and I don't have the paper of the damn degree? How did I?
It never ends.
Because I was making a living and my husband didn't have a job and I had to have two jobs to pay the bills. That was why.
Yes.
And it's as big as the paper of whatever it is.
Yes.
But still the idea of this other person achieved. And I fell behind.
It's the third.
And I
Yes.
fell behind.
Yes.
And that self conception of failure is the painful thing that I find in
Yeah.
all the things around shame.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. You know. So yeah, this for example, Pilar, what you were talking about is this part, right? Between these two, at this age, after this experiences, you are done, right? At today, you are saying, here you have won. Yeah, here you won, right? Which means you select your individuality. Yeah, but here, this place, this where there is this pain, there is this comparison, right? Where I have an idol, where I compare, where I could be.
Where I failed myself of
Yeah.
my expectation and my promises of what I was going to do. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, where I failed. Yeah. This is the place where, for example, at certain levels, the shame. So for many people, it's still here. Pilar being Pilar, we know Pilar. A lot of life experiences, a lot of victories, lot of seen through things, but still shame when it comes over here. Yeah, I mean, how do we fight with this now? Right, that's the point, right? And for me, for example, I had seen some again, it's comparative, right? I would idolize somebody or somebody with whom I would have started my journey early on, and now they are at certain levels and I am at certain level, and I have my limitations and my responsibilities which I had to work towards. So I could not work towards that promises that I had made, and I could not reach there. But I see somebody whom I have seen grow and reach there. Right now, that comparison of yes, that was possible versus I couldn't go there. Now, how do you do that? Right? How do you target this? The root in this, right? That's the place where we are, right? And in both these places, at a certain level, there is that same journey that we spoke about of knowing the discrepancy, right? And now shape up or ship out. But what we are telling is, I could have reduced that discrepancy. I had it in me on that last step. If the situations were right, I could have achieved it. It was not about my capabilities. It was not about the fight or willpower in me, but it was the situation. Now what do I do? Now I can't ship out saying, well, the discrepancy is too high. Let me get out. Yeah. but I can't shape up, the time is gone maybe. Yeah, things like that. So that is where in that last stage, it brings a completely different angle. Yes, doctor.
So as a part of my foundation skills course that I did as this thing, a part of that is getting therapy. We have to undergo 24 sessions of personal therapy. So as to basically deal with our own issues. When we actually become a counselor and sit in front of a client, we don't come with our own issues, don't have transference and all that stuff. So basically they're taking care of all that.
Yes.
So during therapy, there was one thing my personal counselor said, because I was dealing with a lot of issues, right? So there was one thing she said, every feeling that arises within you, every feeling that you have or that I have, there is a purpose for it. There is a reason why I'm feeling that, right? A person who does not have self-awareness, he or she just feels the feeling and reacts, right? So if I'm feeling ashamed, if somebody said I'm overweight and I'm feeling ashamed about it, and the first reaction of mine is anger, and I lash out and I scream, and that's reaction. So she said, if you're a self-aware person and you know that you're feeling ashamed and you've accepted that shame and guilt and all of these are a part of you, and you're given yourself permission to feel that, see what is the reason why you're feeling the ashamed or why you're feeling the shame. And once that's done, like for example, in the example that you gave, it is, I cannot ship out because I'm in the situation. I cannot shape up because the time has gone. I mean, all my colleagues have moved forward. I'm here. I haven't done much, or I haven't reached where they have. So the feeling of shame is there. Now let me see, okay, now I'm aware I'm feeling the shame. I'm aware I'm feeling my inadequacy. Now that I'm aware and I have the self-awareness, what do? I think in a different way, turn the table and say that, okay, I'm feeling the shame. What is the shame bringing in me? The awareness that where they are, they have certain things, no doubt about it, that I wanted. But where I am right now, I have certain things that they don't. Or I have certain things that I chose to have, like how Pilar said, I chose to be an individual that is acceptable to me. And I chose to do this. I chose to color my hair blue. And I'm happy with that. I'm comfortable with that. It makes me feel good. Sitting in the corporate office, they can't color their hair blue, right? They can't go into a board meeting with the blue hair, right? So that's a sort of awareness. And since I have awareness, I can count my blessings, or I can count the positives that are there in my life, versus instead of just saying that, oh my God, I feel inadequate because I don't have this, they have this, I didn't do this. This is a very good example of how, where I am in my medical career versus where my classmates are. We have a WhatsApp group that we have, and I found for quite some time before I took therapy and I became self-aware, I found that I was not interacting in that group at all, because I thought that because I was not actively practicing, and because I wasn't they had double degrees and stuff like that, because I didn't have those, I have nothing to share. I have nothing to add value. So why would I participate in a WhatsApp group that is full of MDs and PhDs and God knows what else, right? FRCS and double FRCS and stuff. I felt inadequate. But when I started accepting the fact that, yes, I am here and they are there, and I started putting in my this thing that this is my experience, I have done my psychology course. Would any of you guys like to have a session with me, or whatever, one of my colleagues? My whole persona in that group changed. So coming back to what I was saying was that what my physical therapist said, my psychologist said was, every feeling has a reason. Every feeling, there's a reason you feel it. And once I'm self-aware, I know the reason for that feeling. I'm able to do that. That's my privilege, because now I'm self-aware. Self-awareness itself is a privilege. So take into consideration that I'm self-aware, I'm feeling it, and now what can I do with it? Instead of before, when I just used to react and break glass and punch the person or whatever because he or she said I'm overweight or whatever it is, right? So that's the difference.
No, thank you for sharing that, Doctor.
Very valid point. I just want to add.
Yes.
something to it.
Yes,
I mean,
Piyush.
I totally agree with that part. I mean, we as a human, we have a tendency, we never look downwards and we'll always look to at someone who has done more than us. So if I reach maybe the comparison that we are doing, and if I were at that position, maybe I would have looked up at someone else who's doing better than me. That never ends. I mean, until unless you reach the pinnacle of something. And I believe that it's the acceptance of where you set the pinnacle for you. So for example, if I am where I am right now and I feel satisfied, I won't be shameful about that. And yeah, I totally get that part where you mentioned, doctor, that in the group you stop interacting with people. So something of that sort happened with me as well, where I just stopped interacting with people because I felt that I am not up to their level, or I still have to do a lot of things to be there. But yeah, again, once I started accepting, okay, I am good where I am and I'm doing a lot of other things which they are not doing, and I can still, I mean, I am good for myself. Yeah. So once that acceptance comes into a person, I think it's all good, right? You forget about the shame part and you just break away all those things and be normal.
Of course, yes. Of course, yes. Yeah. But I mean, from just to draw a parallel again from my life, and then we touch upon Pilar again. And Alessandra, Arpana, pitch in whenever you want, right? For example, from very early days when I entered engineering, etc., I always wanted to do startup. And I think when I started in engineering, the startup boom was not even there. I mean, it was not such a buzzword that for everything you can have a startup. In Bangalore, I mean, it's literally you have an app to kill mosquito, right? Have a startup, for example. Right? For everything there are startups and people are doing good. But I really, I found out recently, my early junior college days, a pamphlet. I had written down, I had drawn down the logo of my company. I had named my company. I had told what my company will do, to a childish level of how much monthly income will I go and diversify into other business and stuff like that. I was always, everybody who knew me knew a name of a company that I was dreaming about since maybe school days. Yeah, but in engineering and all, it became very, very strong. And many of my friends knew it, and I used to tell them, this is how we can do startup, these are the plans of startup, etc. And many of them actually have startups today. I could never embark on that journey. I tried alongside my job. I tried coding day in, day night. I mean, I used to go for job 9 to 5, then start coding on my own, created my own medical software site, and I had some German doctors on it. And this was the time when Gmail was also not too famous, right? So we was trying. Long story short, I could never embark on that journey. I also registered a pseudo company on my name, and then I shut it down again, and just for pride's sake, I had that company, but it failed. The reason I could never embark on that journey because was more or less was responsibility, right? And responsibility, I cannot always blame it on responsibility, to be honest with you. It started as responsibility. I had to earn money, I had to pay off loans, etc. But then getting into corporate culture, I think I spoiled my lifestyle, where I landed up taking more loans, more bigger house, more blah, blah, blah. And then I have more EMIs to pay. Now, how do I do a startup? There's always a risk, right? And I still hope sometimes, right, that I will now there is a next, everybody talks about either you start a startup very early in the career, or you reach a particular level where you're done with all your responsibilities and you do a startup. And maybe I do that later. But, this theory of saying, yeah, be happy where you are. People who are doing startups may not have what you have. And no, none of that justification, be happy. Of course, I'm happy in my life. But that pain of what I could have reached, the passion, the fundamental thing within me, which was a drive of my life, the things that I taught people, and they got a drive from me, and they did it. They are living it today, and I'm happy for them. A little jealous, but happy for them. But I missed that boat, and I couldn't do that. And for that, if a psychiatrist comes and tells me, hey, Jemin, be happy with your life, right? You're talking to 6 friends from across the globe on psychology today. No, I would have preferred a smaller circle, smaller home, smaller car, but lived that dream, lived that dream. And I missed that. So that was something which I had for a long, long time in me. So it's very hard to say that, yeah, be happy with yourself. Yeah? But that pain of something that's so true to my own passions, it's very hard to justify by saying, oh, current state, I'm happy. Go ahead. Yeah.
Is it guilt or shame? How would you?
shame. There was no guilt. There is no guilt saying, oh, I had to pay off loan. I had to take a bigger home because my daughter was growing and I wanted her to have a good place to live. No, there is no guilt. There is absolutely no guilt. There is shame, right? When I talk to them, those people, and when they talk about their real life experiences of a startup and how they have done and how they have achieved it, I feel, damn, I'm small. That's something wrong. That's something missing in me, right? I am now small in that. The way I had started, I could have been there, but I am not today. Yeah, and that is something missing in me. Maybe something in me was not right to go there, and maybe now I don't have time or something like that. Yeah, but absolutely a shame. I'm not guilt. I at least again, I don't know if I'm fooling myself, right? I say I'm my first patient. I hope I'm not fooling myself, but I always like to believe that I am never guilty of the decision that I take ever in my life, right? I never look back at those decisions and say, oh, wrong. Yeah. I look at where I am today, what I need to do next. Yeah. But where I am today, I have missed that. Yeah. I have missed it. And that's the shame that gets into me. But Arpana, you wanted to say something?
Being a part of like founder of a startup, I'll tell the opposite condition of it. Okay, I was working, as I said, I was a lecturer. Then because of this gap, I became an HR, and then I continued with my career. So when I was in a stage where I was pregnant and I got a message from my employer, now we cannot continue with you because it's just a startup, we will not be able to pay you further. And I was like working day and night. Okay, I was selected as an HR, but the situation went up like this. There was no much work. I was handling compensation benefits with Infosys Group, and imagine a situation where it is a startup. We are going to hire a number of people. You are supposed to come and work with us.
Yeah.
So I was given with the role of HR manager. I was expecting so many things. I started with recruitment. Oh, so many people will come and join, but it was done. So one or two guys, they were hired. Everything is done. So I started pitching in. There was a work related to thyroid, where we are supposed to sit and chat with people what type of diagnostic things they want to go ahead with.
Yeah.
I did that also. I was happy because instead of sitting idle, I did that also. But somewhere I was having this like condition where my designation is HR manager now. Okay, I was an executive, senior executive. Now I'm into a position where I can tell people. But somewhere inside me, I had this, whether you call it as a shame or guilt, where I was not satisfied with the work I was doing because I wanted to grow with C&B. That was my dream. So when I got this message, literally midnight, my baby, I was about to deliver a baby, and what I'm going to do? My husband never had a stable job, so I was the only person who was supposed to take care of everything. What I'm going to do? So next stage, I told him, give me 2 months time. You are not supposed to take me out of my job. Being into HR, I should protect others. So I should. That is the situation I was supposed to protect myself. So give me some time. So I think about it. This is not the time I can look out for a job. So they extended my pay for next 2 months. January 23rd, I delivered. March 23rd, I joined another institution where I started working. I kept my baby on formula milk. Okay, mama, take care of it. My mom is literally aged. I used to tell her, this is the sleep time. So these 3 hours, I'll just go, I'll teach, I'll come back. Till now, few students that remember, it was raining like hell. And I took my two-wheeler. I went through C-section 2 months. So I took my two-wheeler. I came back home just to feed my baby on that particular moment. So that is the day I started thinking what I'm doing in my life. So, okay, there are 2 risks I can take where I can risk with the baby's health or whatever it is going on, or else financial risk I can take up. So I pledged my gold. I started with this institution. Till now, I'm paying that loan amount, and to be frank, my house owner, it could be, or the owner of that building, they are really supportive. There are backlogs which are going on, especially during this lockdown timing, including my faculties. They are so supportive. We are traveling in a path where I keep my ethics with them. So this much amount I'm getting. So this much amount I'm going to give all of you. So I have kept transparency among them. So it's been almost like more than 3.5 years, 4 years we'll be reaching by July. So this journey was not easy. There is a day where I was sitting at my institution thinking I don't have even like money to take milk for my baby. That was like, he was around 1 year old. So I was thinking what to do. Okay, and there was a parent, they came there for walking. Okay, ma'am, now you are going. I just closed the shutter. I was thinking, okay, just let me step out. Let me think what I could do. So I went down, then I asked them, literally that is the shameful situation. But I had two options. For my baby, I should take it, or I should be ashamed of asking someone money. So I took another path. This I have done. Now I have taken money from my friends. I'll tell them this is the day I'll pay you and I'll pay them back. But I have kept that principle with me that if I tell them a particular day, I have to give it back to them, irrespective of anything I go through. But if you say that is shame to take money from someone, from family member or a friend, then I would have not crossed these 4 years, where I would have compromised going for 9 to 9 job, where my parents are there, I'm supposed to take care of them. Mom, she will fall at any point of time. I have to be there at with her, and there is a small kid. So this is the situation I went through. I took financial risk. So to be frank, I'm not ashamed that I took that financial risk, but at least I'm there. The moment my mom, one day my sister, she kept on calling that mom is not receiving my call, there is something. I used to hold a key and I used to drag my husband, you work with me, you take care of everything, you do, let's do this. So he was there and we went along with each other. And mom was there. My baby, he has called. He was 1.5 years old by that time. He has dialed unknowingly because she was not responding to his call.
Yes.
So those are the situations I have seen. I would say that financial risk or startup, if you want to do, or anyone who is planning to do, you have two options. Every time you will go with that. So there is nothing called as shame. We all of us, we will go either beg in front of bank, we will beg in front of an investor or anything, but ultimate plan should be give it on time and make sure that you don't have to bend your head in front of someone.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel when it comes to start. If you feel, and if I compare myself to the people who are in job, I'm happy about them because they don't have the burden which I have. That overnight I have to think, okay, tomorrow this person I have to pay, how I'm going to arrange, on time fees won't be there. What are the consequences I'm going to pay? But there is a particular salary that person is getting. Okay, tomorrow I'll give you this number of people. I'm done. This much money is mine. But my money is unpredictable. Any kid can leave anytime or any person can join anytime. There will be a graph which will be like this. So those are the situations. So you will go through financial problem or mental harassment, whatever you call it. Follow your whatever inner feelings which you get. So ultimately we all succeed. It is not you are thinking, but you have that dream, definitely we all will achieve. It is just situation which makes us to take that risk.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Arpana, right? And that brings me back to this theory, right? Where that awareness of which I'm picking up financial versus responsibility, right? So it was a situation driven awareness. So you were forced on a spot where you had to be aware. And then there was this discrepancy. And from that discrepancy, you decided what step you have to take and you are at a shape up kind of thing, right? Rather than ship out, right? So this is the path that we were onto it. So before I go into the last part, I think Pilar, because we started with that thing for you over here, from whatever you heard people talk, right? Does that give you a perspective and into a change for your situation, or your situation still stays like my situation? For example, I couldn't do a startup, right? So that pain of missing out on something and I've missed the boat and I cannot recover from it. And that is where I am stuck, right? Is that still there, or do you see some direction around this now, for example?
There is fear of being criticized and laughed at, and I mean, when I get serious and I look at the people I've interacted and really who could know me, maybe I will be elsewhere. I mean, always trying to escape the image that I have to produce of myself, and the conflict. I'm still afraid of going on with the videos. I keep writing and I have the ideas, but the fear is paralyzing.
Yes.
I mean, I had made a commitment with you, and I made the little videos just for us, but going public, it's for me it's a lot of pressure. I
Yes.
am
Yes.
afraid.
Of course.
I am
And
afraid of the pain of
yes,
being shamed,
yes, yes,
of the comments,
yes,
and it's interesting because in the YouTube vortex I ended up following a mortician. She has a funerary home, and in her video she says, and remember, this is for sharing good ideas. So whatever I don't like of your bad or negative comments, I am going to delete it because that is my right. And you are no one to shame me or to whatever me.
yeah,
And I was like, oh, I love this mortician. She is so cool. She's this mega gothic chick, as you can imagine. And I said, it's only true and it only hurts if you take it in. And remembering the story, even though I'm still afraid, I tell me a story of an old samurai teacher who never accepted a student. I don't know if you know the story. It's a very short
go for it.
uh, knowledge story. It's a samurai teacher, a very old sensei, who had a lot of students, and there was a boy who came every year, every year, every year, every year, and every year the teacher just put him away. This is not your place. This is not your place. This is not your place. So a couple decades go by, and the teacher is now a very old man, and he's sitting in a little town next to a fountain under a tree, just spending the evening by himself, enjoying the weather. And the student who had hated him, now he's a very powerful man and big and strong, and he goes to there and he starts insulting him and telling him a lot of things, and he's very aggressive, and he has no filter. He's really mistreating the old man with his words. So the children go and fetch the samurais to say they are mistreating the sensei. They're mistreating the sensei. So all the samurais, they come with the sword, manly, and just waiting for a sign of the sensei to turn into Yakimeshi, that man who was insulting the teacher. And the man, by now, he was all red and sweating and like this and insulting the teacher. And suddenly he just takes a moment to take in some breath, and the teacher looks at him and says, nah.
Okay,
So
I
just
think
to add on just one last point,
yes.
because if it is recorded and if it is giving a message to others, so most of the part, like what I observe, there is one word called as housewife. Okay, the people are really like they have done courses like others and they have achieved and they were working and suddenly they shift to a role of housewife. Definitely you are not married to that house. Remember that, and you still have chance to achieve. And if you think that there is no time that you can go out and you are dedicating your time for your family, kids or parents or something, there is no harm in that. If you want to calculate, it might be wrong, but if you want to calculate your salary, to be frank, the dusting, and in Bangalore level, I'll tell, dusting, cleaning, and this one, I give around 3,000 rupees to my maid, add on to that washing, and then cooking, all the charges, how much you are saving, as well as if you get paid for that. If you think in that angle, if you get that paid, your husband is earning nothing. Because you are taking care of the kid, child care, if someone is doing and you need to be behind them, you do all the background verification, but individually you are doing all such type of roles. And parental care you are doing, calculate 10,000, 10,000, 10,000 for each job also, because that is a major responsible role, and an educated person is there. Definitely they'll ask more. If you think in those angles, you are earning more than what other people. It is not feminism, it is not comparison. It is you are doing a job. It is one of the job you are taking care of, and your kids, they are taking you as an example. Never ever allow your kid to tell that my mother is housewife. Okay, tell them what you did before as a person. Okay, my mother has done this particular course and she has done this and she is helping me to grow further. This is the education we will give first place that to our kids, instead of using my mother is housewife. This is what in the form also they will feel, housewife. Education, I don't know anything about my mother. I'll go or I'll call my mother and ask what she has studied, because we are not giving that knowledge to our kids that what we are up to. There is nothing, if we comparatively check, you are earning more than anyone, but it is not in the form of money, one thing, and you are doing the best job. And anytime if you get opportunity, please go ahead, because kids will grow. After a particular period, they need a comfort zone too, and they need separate path. So leave them. You take time for yourself and keep your me time always. Keep that always in your mind. Everyone needs that space. Just because you came to a role which has lots and lots of demand, definitely don't get into that situation where you are ashamed of yourself. So because today's topic is that, so it is like a message to everyone, definitely don't get into a stage or don't create a path where you selected it and you are ashamed of it. Anything it could be. Just one example I have given of housewife. There is no word called as housewife. Take it, delete it, and you are doing a job there, and you are a person who is taking care of so many people at a time and doing so many things at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The mom's job is, and housewife's job is awesome. Awesome. No comparison there. Full respect. Perfect. I think if nothing from anybody else, any last thoughts? Otherwise, we close the call for today. Maybe we meet up next time. So calling once, calling twice, calling thrice. Thank you everyone for your time, and see you next time maybe.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Jemin.
Thank you. Bye bye.